Welcome back. This is the 95th segment of Making Sense for 7 minutes, and it is the 25th segment of 25 segments. It is the finale of the series where we have been taking a hard look at evil and suffering. And during this exploration, we've been talking and taking this hard look through the lens of a biblical worldview. The worldview that sees four major historical events forming a template through which and with which we can grapple and begin to understand the things that are happening in our world and in our lives. Now, these events and the questions that are raised surrounding these events, particularly regarding evil and suffering, are: number one, creation. What do we know about God? Number two, corruption. What do we know about people? Number three, what do we know? Number three is redemption, and the question is, what do we know about God's purposes? And then number four is restoration. What do we know about the future? And it's this last one, restoration, that we want to really focus on for just a bit. What do we know about the future? And here's why this question is so important. What you believe about the future, what you anticipate, is going to determine how you deal with the difficulties and the struggles and the pain in your life today. Now, there are some immeasurably important information that the Bible gives us about the future, and obviously it's way more than we can go into right now. So let me hit the highlights. Here's what we know. Jesus is going to come back. He is going to raise the dead, establish his kingdom. He is going to administer justice, and he is going to banish evil and suffering from among his people forever. Now, did you catch these last two? He is going to administer justice. Listen, God is going to set things right. Evil will not prevail. And no one is going to get away with anything. And he will banish both evil and suffering from among his people forever. Revelation 21:4 tells us and assures us that he will wipe away every tear from our eyes. And there will no longer be any death. There shall no longer be any mourning or crying or pain. These things will have passed away. But it's not going to be just about removing the unpleasantries. 1 Corinthians 2:9 tells us that the eye has not seen, the ear has not heard, it has not even entered into the heart of man what great things the Lord has in store for those who love him. Whatever you're going through, no matter how hard it gets, if you're a follower of Jesus, not only will he sustain you in the middle of it all, but God is going to bring you through it all and out of it all. And the direction of your life is ultimately headed in such a way that you have great, solid reason to be encouraged. If you're not a follower of Jesus, I have no encouragement to offer you. But here's the scoop. If you are a follower of Jesus, this is as bad as it's going to get. If you're not a follower of Jesus, this is as good as it's going to get. Now, let me leave you with one final thought before I make some recommendations about some books you might want to read. To paraphrase a tremendously brilliant gentleman by the name of Carl F.H. Henry, if you are looking with a biblical worldview, even on a really bad day, you can see forever. Now, there are 3 books that I want to suggest to you. One is Trusting God Even When Life Hurts by Jerry Bridges. This was a lifeline for me when I first entered into a really serious stretch of depression. The second is Unspeakable, Facing Up to Evil in an Age of Genocide and Terror by Os Guinness. And then the fourth, or the third is by Timothy Keller, Walking with God Through Pain and Suffering. Take, read, grow, enjoy, and thanks, y'all.